What occurs if you are brought down in court by your own family in your ideal TV marriage? Marsau Scott is experiencing precisely that. He is no longer merely a reality star balancing his personal and professional lives. He is currently dealing with severe legal issues, and this time it goes beyond mere rumors. It all began when his own wife, Latisha Scott, filed a lawsuit. She charged Marsau with creating covert businesses, falsifying signatures, and concealing funds. Her legal team presented tax records, forged documents, and bank deposits that suggested something far more serious than simple poor bookkeeping, while she was using her name on contracts she never approved. Maurice Scott, Marsau's own brother, testified against him, which was a shocking turn of events. Yes, he arrived to expose Marsau rather than to defend him. Maurice testified in court that Marsau maintained two sets of financial records, one for investors and one that documented the true flow of funds, neither of which contained information about Latisha. Jail is no longer merely a threat. This is now legal warfare rather than family drama. Marsau is this close to seeing the interior of a cell after everything is made public in court. But let's go back and dissect this, okay? The spark that ignited everything was Latisha Scott's lawsuit, which was more than just a legal action. Latisha filed a civil suit as Marsau's business partner in addition to his wife. And that is a crucial detail because this was the collapse of a business empire, not just a relationship. The allegations of missing funds, falsified signatures, and covert transactions taking place directly in front of her are at the heart of it. Marsau and Latisha co-owned Charade Industries for many years. Although it was a family business on paper, Marsau was operating a completely different business behind the scenes, according to Latisha's legal team. The documents show that he was investing hundreds of thousands of dollars in unrelated businesses that Latisha was unaware of. The most damaging aspect is that he allegedly used her name and signature without getting her consent. Instead of merely making assertions, Latisha's attorneys presented the court with real contracts that had her name on them but that she had never signed. They brought in bank statements, tax returns, and spreadsheet breakdowns that didn't add up. Internal documents indicated some of the figures Marsau was reporting were fabricated, and deposit records indicated unaccounted funds. It was about the destruction of trust, not just the disappearance of money. When the court viewed side-by-side comparisons of authentic contracts with those that were allegedly forged, it became evident that some of the documents appeared to have been copied, pasted, and altered. Even worse, Latisha said that some of these transactions had exposed her to financial risk, including bank loans and filings she was unaware of. She was listed on documents she had not approved. And this lawsuit opened the door to potential criminal charges because if Latisha's team's claims were accurate, this was not just bad business, it was a fraud. It wasn't just about getting money back. Additionally, the evidence was growing quickly, and just when we thought things couldn't get any messier, Latisha showed up with more than just paperwork. She brought receipts, but then the moment that rocked the courtroom came. Not to defend him, Marsau's brother, Maurice Scott, entered. In this case, Maurice testified for the prosecution, telling the court that Marsau had been running two books, one for investors and one for himself. Maurice has always been viewed as the calm one, the loyal one, and the brother who remained impartial. Without mentioning Latisha or their company, he claimed that money was flowing into private accounts in Marsau's name alone. He even disclosed that in order to transfer funds covertly, Marsau had secretly established unregistered LLCs. When he was subpoenaed and shown the documents, Maurice acknowledged that he initially didn't want to get involved, but that he was unable to ignore what he saw. Maurice's statement, "Family loyalty must eventually give way to doing what's right," was the most impactful. You could feel the tension in the room shift as that line struck a deep chord. He supported his testimony with voice notes, project invoices, and emails in which Marsau allegedly talked about concealing assets and transferring money. In one email, Marsau gave someone instructions to transfer money to a business that Latisha had never heard of and that wasn't even listed under their joint venture. When you thought that was the plot twist, the assistant shows up with even more tea. Maurice had proof, and the judge took it seriously, so this wasn't hearsay. This is the point at which the case took an unexpected turn, as the next witness entered the room and completely upended the proceedings while everyone was still digesting Maurice's testimony. She entered quietly, wearing sunglasses and an all-black outfit. Later, court records verified that she had previously worked as an assistant at one of Marsau's construction companies. However, her sworn testimony revealed that she had a close personal relationship with Marsau that extended well beyond her work duties, making her a crucial witness. For almost 2 years, she said, Marsau had paid her illegally while keeping her off official records and assigning her delicate duties, such as removing digital files and removing private documents from the workplace. The evidence she brought with her, a flash drive containing voice memos, business contracts, erased wire transfers, and screenshots, was what truly rocked the courtroom. As long as it doesn't have my name or Tisha's, we're good. Just make it look like an outside investor, says Marsau in a voice clip that is among the most damaging. It was evident that he was giving her advice on how to hide his activities. She also gave her emails exchanged between Marsau and a third party concerning Plan B Holdings, an LLC that was registered in a different state and could not be linked to Latisha. Without Latisha ever realizing it, the assistant testified that this LLC was being used to transfer money from their joint ventures. But something more intimate struck close to home. She claimed that in one exchange, Marsau called Latisha a figurehead rather than his partner. He allegedly told her that unless someone handed her a flashlight and a map, Tisha wouldn't even notice the money missing. Not only was that remark offensive, but it was also illuminating. It demonstrated Marsau's confidence in keeping information from the one person who ought to have known him the best. But Latisha wasn't clueless. She was 10 steps ahead and had been preparing her comeback the entire time. Latisha took the stand immediately following the assistant's testimony, and her revelations altered the mood of the courtroom. Latisha had been secretly collecting evidence for more than a year, it turned out. Rather than confronting Marsau directly, she started recording everything after noticing minor discrepancies, missing receipts, evasive responses regarding financial matters, and delayed responses regarding business decisions. In addition to bringing a personal ledger that documented every purchase, text message, and conversation to court, she had also installed a recording app on an old burner phone that was concealed in their home office. Marsau was heard saying, "She'll believe whatever I tell her as long as I throw in a baby and a vacation," in one of the dozens of conversations that were captured on that phone between him and his business associates. The courtroom became quiet. Additionally, Latisha gave over an external hard drive that held emails, financial documents, and screenshots of business filings that Marsau had filed under her name without her consent. Many of the records, which her legal team had verified, unequivocally demonstrated that Marsau had listed fictitious assets, falsified signatures, and even attempted to obtain bank loans using data that Latisha had never seen. "I believed in him more than I believed in myself," Latisha said, looking straight at the judge, and that was the most moving moment of her testimony. And he made use of that love as a weapon. Everything changed at that moment. It was about the years of deceit and manipulation Latisha had endured covertly while establishing their life together, not just about discovering Marsau was lying. And when it appeared that Marsau had run out of options, the doors to the courtroom opened once more, and who entered? A bombshell from the Fed. The courtroom seemed to have witnessed everything, but then things became even more serious. A former Love and Marriage Huntsville producer entered the building, followed closely by a federal investigator. This was no longer just about business fraud or family drama. It became evident as soon as the producer took the stand. Now that the federal government was looking, she made a revelation in her sworn statement that had everyone talking. It has been reported that Marsau requested that footage that might negatively portray him legally be concealed or altered. She said that because Marsau was caught discussing ghost employees, people who were purportedly on payroll but didn't exist, some scenes were cut under duress. Not only that, but she also testified that Marsau boasted off camera about using COVID relief funds to buy real estate and failing to disclose them to the IRS. The judge wasted no time in determining that this aligned with the financial disparities that Latisha's forensic team had already identified. The court halted all of Marsau's accounts, including those connected to the enigmatic Plan B holdings, after examining the new testimony and comparing it with the assistant's flash drive and Latisha's hard drive. The kicker is this. The federal investigator presented the judge with a sealed envelope. Although the precise contents of the room are unknown, several people who were present suggested that it might contain early federal charges related to tax evasion, fraud, and misappropriation of business loans. What does this all mean then? Is Marsau incarcerated officially? This is where it all ended up. Citing copious evidence of financial misconduct, falsified documents, and intentional deception, the judge decided in favor of Latisha. There in court, Marsau was arrested pending a full criminal trial. The charges? Several counts of forgery, embezzlement, and fraud carry severe penalties, facing the actual prospect of years behind bars. In contrast, Latisha didn't even smile or celebrate. She left that courtroom feeling composed but emotionally spent. After years of being ignored, she wanted to be heard, not win. And let's face it, this entire story, the rise and fall of a man who believed he could outsmart everyone, including his wife, business partners, and even federal investigators, is more than just a scandal. However, since you are watching this at home, let's have a quick conversation before we wrap up. Was it always about control and power, or was it about money? In any case, one thing is certain: Latisha's strength made this whole situation into a confrontation. I would now like to hear from you. Was Marsau simply wagering that Latisha wouldn't defend herself? Or do you guys think he ever imagined he'd be caught? Don't forget that you know who will serve the tea first when it's this hot. Leave your comments below and subscribe for more breakdown.